I grew up in a small neighborhood in the suburbs. Most of the houses were similar and usually had names like Maplewood or Willow Creek. Our house was called Skull House because it looked like a giant skull from the street and was painted white with black windows. Our family weren't weirdos. In fact, we were pretty typical, maybe a bit too clean. Dad was a dentist, Mum was a homemaker, and I was a bookworm. But there were always rules. Don't talk to strangers, lock all the doors and windows, and most importantly, don't answer the phone if we're not expecting a call. But one day when I was 13, Dad had an appointment that ran late. So Mum walked me through the checklist. Don't answer the phone. Lock the doors and windows. If anything weird happens, call the cops. I promised I would be fine. And remember, she said, you are not alone here. After she left, I felt like a tiny kid left alone in the grown-up world. I decided to watch Star Trek while waiting for my parents. Suddenly, the phone rang. I looked at it suspiciously. I knew no one was calling. I hesitated, then picked up the receiver. Hello, I said. Hi, is your dad home? I recognized the woman's voice, but I couldn't place it. No, he's still at work. Can I help you? Oh, okay. Listen, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but do you have any idea how to get into the house next door? She paused. Why does it matter? Are you friends? Oh, no, not really. I'm just doing some research for a paper I have to write about suburban architecture. I think our neighbors might have an interesting floor plan. Would you mind telling me how to get in? Oh, okay, sure. It's just... I paused, realizing something. Why don't you just knock on the door? Well, that's the thing. I want to get in without them knowing. They have one of those security systems that makes a lot of noise. I don't want to set off the alarm. Oh, I see. Well, yeah, there's no way I could do that. Sorry. Oh, okay. Well, thanks anyway. She hung up. I sat there dumbfounded. What did she want to do? Break in? How did she get my number? Where was my mum? I started to panic. I wanted to call her, but that was against the rules. I wasn't supposed to make calls unless she was there. The phone rang again. I jumped and almost dropped the receiver. Maybe it was Mum checking up on me. I grabbed it quickly. Is everything okay? I heard her say, yeah, everything's fine. I lied. Who was that on the phone? I asked. Who was on the phone? She asked. I repeated myself. Oh, just some telemarketer, she said, relieved. Don't worry about it. You sure? Yep, bye, honey. She hung up. I stared at the receiver in my hand, angry and scared. Who was that woman? What did she want? Why didn't my mum tell me what was going on? I needed answers. I knew the rule about not talking to strangers, but my nosiness got the better of me. I pulled on my shoes and snuck out the front door. Our house was on a cul-de-sac, so the only way in was by car. I looked around, nothing. There were no cars parked outside our neighbor's house. It must have been a weird time for them to go out. I considered going next door, but I couldn't just break in. I wasn't a creep. I needed a way in that wouldn't set off the alarm. Then I remembered the sliding glass door that led to the kitchen. I smiled. I knew exactly how to get in. I hopped over the fence to the side yard and headed toward the back of the house. The sliding door was slightly ajar. I peered through the glass and saw an open kitchen. No one was in sight. Maybe I could just peek around and figure out what was going on. Then I could sneak out without anyone knowing. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The kitchen was empty, but I could hear muffled voices coming from the living room. I tiptoed closer to the doorframe and listened intently. Hadn't seen the kids in a while. Yeah, they look great. Healthy. Yes, yes. I remember you asking about the new addition to the family. Nope, none yet. Sarah is still breastfeeding. She says that's best for the baby. Oh, I'm sure. She's a smart girl. Always knew she'd amount to something. You never know with boys, could go either way. Yes, yes. So we're having dinner tonight. It's one of my husband's inventions. You know, he likes to experiment in the kitchen. This time he made these little crab cakes with lemon sauce. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? I can't wait for you to try them. I froze. Was that my neighbor's house? Why was my mum talking about me? Did she know something I didn't? Confused and frightened, I backed away from the door and stumbled backwards. Something hard dug into my foot. I cried out and fell down. A loud crash echoed through the room. Startled voices shouted from the living room. What was that? Someone screamed, "Get down and shut up." I scrambled to my feet and raced to the back door. As I fumbled with the handle, another voice cut through the chaos. "Sarah," it said, "is that you? Is the baby okay? Sarah, answer me." The voice broke into sobs. "I'm sorry. I heard my mum whisper, 'He's gone.' I'm so sorry." I burst out of the door and sprinted to our house. As I ran, I realized I didn't know my way back. Our house was nowhere in sight. Panic seized me. I turned and spotted our driveway. I raced toward it, desperate to get home. I ran as fast as I could, my heart pounding in my chest. Then I saw it. Our front door was wide open. I stopped dead in my tracks. Had I been followed? Was that why I couldn't find our house? Had someone let themselves in? I cautiously approached the door. "Mum," I whispered, my voice shaking. There was no reply. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The house was silent. Then I heard a familiar voice behind me. "I found your other shoe outside," it said. I spun around, my blood turning to ice. Standing in the doorway was a stranger. He had a kind smile, but his eyes were cold and hard. In his other hand, he held my shoe. "Can I help you?" I whispered, terrified.